for Schindler. Has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Okay, so it's time for some Preston, Patter and Millwall musings incoming. Yes, it's the warm-up episode 128. It's your host, Brady Frost, and I'm with Huddersfield Town Women captain, Beth Stanfield. Beth, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm good. Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Nice to have you on the podcast, finally.
Thanks. I know, yeah.
And you don't have to hear our quizzing about Town and how they're doing. I know results haven't been great, but neither have they for the men's team. So instead, we're going to talk about your team that you support, Preston. But I want to ask you, how long have you supported Preston? And how long, how did that journey start?
Probably since the day I was born, I was a Preston fan because I was born in Preston. My dad is a Preston fan and has been all his life. It's where my family are from and stuff. So, yeah, never had a choice. Always been a Preston fan. We moved down south when I was about 7 and stayed down there for about 6-7 years. So I used to go to all the southern away games with my dad. So Watford, QPR, all that lot. So I've been going since I can remember really. So yeah.
Oh, fair enough. And how does the family feel about you crossing the Rose Divide, I suppose, to play for Huddersfield?
I know, yeah. Well, I went to uni in Bradford, so I've been here quite a while now. Probably nearly 10 years actually. I started uni in 2014, so yeah. It's not too bad. I like it, so yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
okay.
they do always get that in whenever they can.
Yeah, of course. And I'm sure we'll get that in over the podcast here. So, but yeah, let's talk about this one because Town are hosting Preston tonight at the John Smith Stadium. Preston haven't won in their last 4 matches, but your last win was actually a 2-1 win over Blackburn Rovers on the 10th of November. That victory over Rovers was away from home, and that's the only win Preston have had on their travels in the last 7 league games. Sorry to rub it in. It's just there's not much joy for the men's team at the moment for Huddersfield. So we try and make it potentially like we could get a win here. But I suppose, Beth, how is it being a Preston fan at the moment?
At the moment, not great. Obviously, we had a really good start to the season. We were top of the league for a bit, and then we were kind of settling around 3rd for the first few games. But yeah, I think we've only won 2 in the last 13 games or something. So obviously, it's a bit of a worry because it's not just the fact that the stats, that's the stat. It's the manner in which we're playing the games. The football has not been good. It's been it just feels like we don't really know how to attack, what we're going to do. If we go a goal down, it's as if plan A was don't concede, and then we haven't got a plan B. So it's just a bit, it's not great at the moment. Obviously, that Blackburn away win was great. I was there with my dad and his friends. So that 90th minute winner that went in was great. And then it's just been a bit, a bit, I want to say boring. When Ryan Lowe started, he came and he said he wanted to bring this exciting attacking brand of football, and the last 13 games definitely haven't been that, and it just doesn't feel like we know what to do. We haven't really got a change of plan. I don't think it helps. Our striker Osmajic had a good start, and then he's been injured the last few games, so I don't think that's helped. But yeah, we can't just rely on him. I think other people have got to step up a bit, but yeah, it does feel a bit flat at the moment. I would say definitely the atmosphere at home games, particularly the last few weeks, has just been really, really flat. Not great, but I think despite all that, we're still 1 point off the playoffs. So it's you would take that at this kind of point in the season. If you'd have said that at the start of the season, we'd be 1 point off the playoffs in December, you'd think, we must have done all right. But I think because we had such a good start and then we've kind of really dropped off, it's a bit worrying. But yeah.
And obviously, because you'll have insight as a player, If you have you ever been in situations where things aren't going well, and like what do you kind of like do as a team to lift morale and try and turn negative results into positive ones?
I think you've got to try and look for where you did well and try and take positives out of it. So, because sometimes it could just be one mistake that leads to you losing the game, or one kind of error in judgment, one bad decision. So, I guess you just got to try and look for the positives and not dwell on the negatives for too long. I think just trying to, I think the kind of baseline is just that everyone works hard and wants to win and really tries. And if you can do that, then hopefully things will start turning in your favour, I think just try and take positive out of it. But we haven't got many the last few. I mean, the only one we can take, I guess, is that it was a clean sheet against Norwich, and that stopped the kind of run of defeats. But so I guess we've got to build on that. We got a clean sheet. Yeah, it was not a good performance, but a point away from home. And I guess you just got to look at it like that and try and focus on the positives.
Yeah, I mean, draws being turned into positives. That's very much Huddersfield Town men at the moment. So know how that feels. But before we chat to you a little bit more about Preston, Tom isn't here, but he always does his little history corner. So we can hear that and the head-to-head between these two sides right now.
Hello, it's me, it's Tom. It's time for History Corner. One of two today, so here's the first one. It's Huddersfield Town versus Preston. What history we've got between these two teams. So 101 games have been played between the two in total. Town have won 38, drawn 24 and lost 39 against the Lily Whites, which is quite a balanced affair, I'd say. The first meeting was a 1-1 draw back in the second tier in 1912. Thomas Elliott scoring for Town that day. And the last meeting, although it was a second tier affair, it wasn't a second tier game, as it was the FA Cup tie back in January, where Town lost 3-1 and Florent Cambiri scored that day. Town were on the wrong end of a 6-2 defeat back in 1947 away at Preston in the top tier, which sets quite an awful stat for Town away at Preston. So we've played 50 times away and we've only won 11 of those games. We've just one win against Preston away since 1969, and that was last season. But that does also mean that our home form in this fixture is just as good, with Preston only winning on 13 occasions out of 51 at our place. So we've got a couple of players who've played for both, starting off with Tom Clark, who made over 100 appearances for Preston, captained them and scored 5 goals, and came through the Town Academy, playing 96 times for Huddersfield Town, scoring 3 goals. Chris Laketti, playing 189 times for Preston, also captaining them, I think, and captaining Town, when in his second spell at the start of that season, where he played 81 times over the 2 spells for Town, scoring just once. One of my favourite all-time ever players, I think a lot of Town's favourite ever players, Pavel Abbott, made 25 appearances for Preston, scoring 6 goals, and made 115 appearances for Town, scoring a quite impressive 48 goals in that spell. And then Big Sam played 93 times for Preston, scoring 2 goals and 37 appearances for Town with no goals. That is your History Corner Preston edition.
Okay, so Tom mentioned players who play for both there. One of them is obviously Duane Holmes. I wanted to ask, because listeners will know I kind of like Duane here. He was a bit gutted he went, but how's he been getting on at Preston?
Yeah, really good actually. When we signed it, it was a bit of an odd one, because it was a bit like, why would Huddersfield let him go to another Championship side? It was a bit of a weird one, but I think he's our top goal scorer, top assist. So yeah, he's done really well. I think he just brings a bit of energy, especially when with press teams high. He's kind of the one that drives it. And yeah, he's been getting the goals and assists. So yeah, he's been quite pleasantly surprising, I think. Because, like I said, it was a bit of a weird one that Huddersfield would let him go. But yeah, he's done really well for us so far. So yeah, excited to see what else he can do.
I'm sure Town fans will be really pleased to hear that people we get rid of that we weren't really sure do well. I suppose in terms of your view on this, like who would you say your key players are coming into this one that Town fans need to watch out for?
I think the last few games are like, I guess, star player, if you like, has been Alan Brown, the captain. When obviously we've not had very many good results recently in performances, but he's kind of stood out as the one who has been trying to like drag others up with him, picking the ball up and driving it out into the opposition's half. So yeah, he's put in some really good performances recently that I think others hopefully will look to him and mirror. But yeah, I think Alan Brown. And then we've got Liam Miller, who's on loan from Basel, I believe. He's really kind of tricky, pacey winger. He's been playing out of position a bit recently because of injuries and things. So he's been playing, I think he played up front against Norwich and didn't really have anything to do. He was just kind of the out ball. But when he plays either kind of left wing or left wing back, as Ryan Lowe likes to play that system, if he's just free to run at the defence, he'll be the one who kind of can create something out of nothing. So hopefully he'll be on form. Yeah.
No, that's good. And I'm very impressed by your skill in answering questions while you're looking after your new puppy at the same time. I just thought I'd let listeners know because, you've told me all about off record the joys of looking after a new puppy. So.
Yeah, he's just ripping my hands to shreds down here. But let me see if I can grab him. Ted, come here. He's called Ted.
Oh, yeah. He's. We always have blogs on this pod. Look at that. There you go. There you go. Clipping that. That'll draw the viewers in. But yeah, before we were recording, actually, we talked on Ryan Lowe. Now, obviously, he was linked with Town years ago, and obviously quite fancied, but. From the outside, like you say, Preston are close to the playoffs. It looks like things from the outside got it like, oh, it looks like it's going fine. But you expressed that you're not the biggest fan of him, and I understand he's under pressure. So can you shed some light on us about that situation?
Yeah, personally, I just think tactically he's a bit lacking. I think I mentioned like we don't seem to ever have a plan B. And it can be a bit frustrating. Like he says a lot that he wants this attacking brand of football. He wants to get Deepdale rocking, things like that. But then when it actually comes to it, we're not playing attacking football. We're sitting behind the ball. We're kind of keeping possession for the sake of it. And then once we get past the halfway line, we just don't seem to know what to do. So I think he can talk the talk. I don't know if he can back it up, but obviously, at the start of the season, we're doing very well. We're picking up points. We're getting results. But I think it's kind of showing now that, he is under pressure. And obviously, like, the form is not good. But then in this, like I mentioned earlier, we are still 1 point off the playoffs. So, I just think tactically it's not great. It's not great to watch the football at the moment. And I don't know whether he kind of overthinks things a bit much. But I think if you spoke to a lot of other Preston fans, they'd probably say that his substitutions are often a bit odd. You know, we'll be 1-0 down chasing the game and he'll bring on like a defensive midfielder, or he'll bring on someone who's scored once in the last 30 games. And it's just a bit frustrating at times, but yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. I think, I get that. I mean, I suppose, like Lowe, I was seeing some, looking into this, that he comes across as quite bullish and brash in the interviews. She talked about him talking the talk, and obviously that can rub fans up the wrong way. Like, where do you stand on that? Like you mentioned about him tactically, but does that annoy you as a fan?
Yeah, it does really. Sometimes I listen to his comments and I think, what are you on about, basically, because it doesn't seem to marry up with what he said when he first came, what he's been saying like at the start of the season about this whole attacking brand. And like against Norwich on Saturday, I think he said the game plan was to not concede, but Norwich's defensive record is bad, and I think probably as fans we want to see us attack a team like that and go for the win. Like, I'd much rather have them try and win the game and play this nice attacking brand of football that's exciting, rather than just sit 11 players behind the ball and kind of hope that we don't concede, because we very nearly did it. If it wasn't for, I think Alan Brown made a really good block on the goal line, we would have lost and played in that way. So yeah, I don't know, hopefully he brings something a bit different and kind of changes it up, because obviously we've won 2 in 13, so I think something needs to change, and hopefully he will do that.
Yeah, and we talk about this game coming up. I mean, how are you feeling about this one? Do you think this is a good opportunity for Preston to get something?
Yeah, I think so. I think hopefully, obviously, it was only 0-0 at the weekend, but like I said, it stops that run of defeats, and it's something we can build on. And I think we've got a pretty decent record against Huddersfield, so I would say that this is one that we need to be winning, especially when you look at the table. But yeah, I just hope we kind of go for it. I don't want to see us just sit back and just try and defend and then maybe get something on the break or something, because I don't think that's our strength either. Like, I don't think we're that good at trying to defend a clean sheet and trying to hang on for stuff. I don't think we're good at that. So hopefully we can go out and try and win the game, because I do think we need to win. And I think if we lose, then Ryan Lowe will be under a lot more pressure now, because looking at the table and stuff, you'd expect us to win, I think. So.
And let's be honest, Huddersfield are pretty trash at the moment. I'm happy saying that. So no, that's fair enough. I mean, talking of Huddersfield, I know Kate's a big Town fan. Has she been giving you any kind of stick in the run up to this one?
No, well, I've not been training much because I've been injured, so I've not seen the girls that often. And then we had the game at the weekend was cancelled because of a frozen pitch last weekend, and then we didn't have a match this weekend. So no, I've not seen them in a while, but we'll see after the result comes in.
Yeah, she starts. If you get a message, you'll know exactly what that's about, don't you? If it was a good time as well. Yeah. Obviously, you talked about your recovery there. How's it going? Because I know you've been updating us regularly, but like you mentioned, you've had a bit of a tough one that's kept you out of action. Yeah,
I think it's been frustrating because it just took longer than I originally thought to recover from. But it's okay now. Basically, I just need to get up to speed again, because obviously I've had like a couple of months of just trying to recover and strengthen it. So I'm just trying to get myself back up to fitness and get that kind of power and being able to sprint and stuff, because it was a hamstring, so I need to be able to make sure that it's stronger than it kind of was before. So it's taken a while longer than I expected. So it's been pretty frustrating, but hopefully be back for the new year, ready to go.
Yeah, well, we hope so too, because Town need the players. You were mentioning to me we've got a bit of an injury crisis in the team at the moment. So looking forward to having you back, and hopefully both teams doing well. But no, that's good, Beth. I suppose my final thing then, coming back to the Preston game, is we always do match predictions for this. So what if you had to predict? Don't worry, you won't live or die by this prediction, because I get it wrong every week. But what's your prediction for the game?
I'll go for a 1-0 Preston. I can't see us scoring very many, but I think we'll win. Hopefully we'll win. So.
Even though you've just spent the last 10 minutes talking about how rubbish you are, you still think you're going to pick
I know. I've got to keep the positive vibes though, even though there's not many, but yeah.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Well, no, Beth, thanks so much for coming on. And like you said, Beth, glad to hear you're on the mend. And if people do want to go watch Town Women this week, you are playing that rearranged fixture against Nottingham Forest. I think it's this Thursday. at 7:45. And if you still want to get tickets, go down to Stafflex Arena. I think it's £6 for adults, and I can't remember what the price is for concessions. I think it's £4. But yeah, do check their socials for anything. And Beth, anything you want to say to the listeners before I let you go?
Just forgive me a Preston win. That's all. Don't hold it against me.
We'll tag you in this so people can come and have a go at you, obviously, because we're nice like that. Yeah, Preston win. There you go. I don't think you'll be the focus if Preston win, don't worry. I think we'll get annoyed at other stuff. But yeah, no, Beth, thanks so much for coming on.
Nice one. Thanks for having me.
Back from the break, and for the first time since our Hull City preview, I'm joined by Tom Bradshaw. Tom, we're back together. Finally. It's been so long.
Since Hull City, that's a long time, Brady, isn't it? And as you can tell, I've had some voice reconstructive surgery to make me sound more ASMR for people listening late at night. Yeah. I hope you enjoy it.
Can you, for me, can you do an Australian accent? Because I think you'd sound like Ange Postecoglou right now.
Okay, let's. Good day, mate. Kangaroo. I put another shrimp on the barbie, mate. It's was that okay? I can't read. I'm not.
Right, that's how we play.
I'm not very good at accents. I'm not very good at. That's just it. You got to give the referees. You can't just have a go at the referees all the time. I'm Ange Postecoglou, and I got turned down by Huddersfield Town. What was that like? Did that sound like he was in the room?
I'm sure it's incredibly offensive to someone. So
possibly, yeah.
Just might cut that. But no, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I had a chat with David Webber, and I just didn't like his vision of the club.
That's a good one, Brady. That.
Thanks. Yeah, I've been working on it.
He wanted me to get Martin Wegger on loan, and that's not the type of player I go for, mate. That's not the striker I want.
I also am able to do that because I've had COVID. So we're really in the wars today, listeners. So you should be pleased that we're doing a podcast for you. Anyway, Tom, before we get cracking, do you want to address the recent rumours that why you've not been on? That we've had like a Fleetwood Maxwell rumours fallout where
I was
I
was questioned by a few people after the Bristol City game, saying have me and you fallen out? Have I quit the pod? Have me and Brady had a big breakup? But we haven't. It's just not been one of those, hasn't it? Our schedules have not lined up, have they, Brady? But it's good to be back, and hopefully from here on out it'll be a lot smoother in the run-in over Christmas, I think, for me.
Well, might not be for me, no. Yeah. No, Tom's had this pesky thing called a job, which means he has to do stuff, and I have ridiculous times when I can record anyway. So no, it's nothing but love. You'll be pleased to hear. So, and as you've seen, we've been away for a while, but we're still happy to talk shite. Speaking of which, I promised you Millwall musings, and you're going to get them before I do. It's Christmas, and however you celebrate the holidays, maybe you should celebrate it with some magic. What's my type of magic? I hear you ask. Oh, well, it's Magic Rock, of course. And don't forget, you can get 10% off all your online orders if you head to magicrockbrewing.com and enter our code AHTTC10. There we go. I always get tripped up on that when you change that.
You do code. Every time. Yeah, I think it's the double T, isn't it? It does it every time.
I blame Matt for calling this podcast, and he takes that chance. Right.
Yeah.
Do you ever have this? Right? You want Millwall preview listeners? You're gonna have to wait. Do you ever have this? Because you go on the fan things, you have to explain what it means.
When you say it to someone, like when they hear you say it, I've had a couple of people ask me who Andy is. Like, who's Andy and what chance did he take? It's like
Booby's like God, we're coughing and all sorts. Well, and Andy's not here, but we did have him on 100th pod, and it was his 50th birthday recently. So happy 50th to Andy Booth there. Let's talk about Millwall, Tom. They play Leicester in midweek, so we don't know what the result's going to be because we were recording before. But I'm gonna going to take a wild stab. Here's a hot take for you. I don't think they're going to win that. So, yeah, they were in the bottom 3 on forward table coming into this anyway, and we're recording this before the Preston results, so we don't know what that is. Obviously, we did the preview with Beth in the first half of this, but Tom, do you want to take a little guess at what the Preston game will be? Like, just have a,
I think we'll draw the Preston game 1-1.
There you go. I think that game's going to be absolutely turgid. So, yeah, I'll also go for a draw. I'm going to go 0-0.
I mean, they're not in good form either, Brady. So, I mean, the positive is we're not really conceding at the moment. So, if we can nick a win, come on, we need some 3 points, don't we? Because teams below us seem to be picking up the odd point, but then teams above us aren't. So it's getting so compact in there now. It's mad.
It is getting, especially over the Christmas break as well. To use the cliche, the games are coming thick and fast. There's a lot of games. It's less than 3 weeks until the transfer window opens, Tom, as well. And I feel like every week we're talking about the transfer window and getting there, and it's actually caught up on us. I suppose I was going to ask you while we're doing this little Millwall preview, is what are your priorities for the window? Because I feel like they keep shifting. Not just you, but like in general, I feel like they keep changing.
Yeah, I mean, I think I had this conversation with my dad after the game on Saturday. I was like, I think it's got to be almost someone in each line of the team. So striker, someone a bit more creative in the middle. I guess we're missing Jack, aren't we? I think it just proves how good Jack Radoni was at the start of this year. So hopefully Jack Radoni's back soon. He makes a difference. But obviously a striker. And then possibly another fullback. I think Headley's been doing really well, and Jackson, but it's one of those. I just think 3 players, Brady, 3 players with who maybe you wouldn't look at and think, oh wow, that's amazing, but just 3 good quality kind of experienced championship players. I think that is literally all that team needs. It's just some proper experienced heads coming in. People like kind of like your Tommy Smiths, Martin Craney kind of player. And the Jordan Rhodes conundrum is an interesting one. I mean, he's scoring goals at Blackpool, innit? It's like, unless Blackpool are going to spend money on him in January, I just don't see why you wouldn't recall him, to be honest. A striker in form is worth having in your team for me.
Yeah. It's a good one. I don't know.
Sorry, Brady, I was just going to add to that. For once, let's do it. If we don't do it early as well, that's the thing. I feel like Town have got form of not doing their January business early, or things falling through and it coming out last minute. So if you can recall Jordan Rhodes from the start of January, do you know what I mean? At least have him in there, because if it gets to the end of January and we haven't got anyone else in, it seemed like a massive waste of time.
Yeah, that's a good point. And strikers are kind of the priority positions, aren't they? Like, so yeah. And knowing Town will, like you said, they won't be there January 1st. Don't know. Have the potential to surprise us. Yeah, I don't know with Rhodes. It's a tough one. Obviously, I did that article where I don't feel like he's the answer, but beggars cannot be choosers, Tom, and we are begging as a club at the moment in terms of being around there. So I don't know. It's difficult. I still don't think he's the answer. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know that's awful, and I do really love Jordan Rhodes, and I know he's in League One, but I just need to be honest. If I was Town, I'd get 2 strikers. Like I'd get someone, try and get someone proven, easier said than done, and then try and get a young lad on loan from a Premier League club, because I think that Wardy and those 2 in Wardy, I think, would be fine, and then I'd probably loan out Harrett and Hudlin, like, if I'm being honest, like, because I think Harrett, I know he's injured, but like, I think he could do with a League One loan, and like knowing he's going to play every week, and I know he's been doing that for us, but I like him. Same with Hudlin, I like him, and they've done a lot better than I expected, but I feel like I don't know. Like, it's not a good environment for them to develop at the moment. They need to go out and possibly come back. So yeah, it's interesting. I'm with you. I think that creative. The thing is though that it's not. They're not cheap positions, are they? So we're gonna have to put our money where our mouth is. But who knows? It's funny. We did that poll last week about are you confident Town will get the right players, and the fans weren't. So we'll see what happens. But Tom, actually, are you confident we're going to get the right players? That's what I'll ask you.
There's been a lot of talk, hasn't there? I mean, the one confidence as they've got delivery. They talked a lot about it, so it's more getting them in early, Brady. I think the squad just needs a bit more help. So yeah, if that happens, then hopefully we'll be all right.
Here's open. Anyway, we'll go back to that Millwall game because I had a recording from a Tom Bradshaw who didn't sound like he was on death's door.
Oh yeah.
Because this was a surprise, and here's a fresh Tom talking about the head-to-head.
It's the second history corner, and it's Millwall. And in comparison to what we've heard earlier about Preston, there's nothing much there. I mean, we've only played Millwall 55 times in both our rich histories. Town have won 25, drawn 7, and losing just 21. So it's still pretty close. The first meeting was a 1922 FA Cup quarter-final win, which, linking to our previous history corner, was our FA Cup winning season. And who did we beat in the final? Preston North End. But Town didn't face Millwall in the league until 1966. After 3 more cup ties, Town picked up their first ever league victory over Millwall, and that was a 2-0 home win in the second tier. Town's last meeting versus Millwall was that brilliant 1-0 away victory last season under Neil Warnock, with his son Danny Ward on the score sheet that day. There has been 2 5-1 wins in this fixture, one for either side. Millwall's in 1969 and Town's in 1983, but the biggest scoring game was a 4-3 win for Town at home in 1985 in the second tier. We go on to now played for both, and we've got a couple not as, I'd say, successful as the Preston players that I listed, but here's a few that I listed here. We've got good old Scott Malone. What a absolute legend for Huddersfield Town Scott Malone was. So much promise and so little return, I'd say, about Scott Malone. But 22 games for Town and over 100 for Millwall, actually. Benny Kfobe, 28 games for Town, 53 for Millwall, over 3 spells there. What a promising young player he looked like at Town, and he's gone on to have a pretty decent career, but what a journeyman when you look at all the teams he's played for. Blooming heck. Murray Wallace, 181 appearances for Millwall and 51 for Town. I remember when he was at Town, a lot of people didn't really give him much hope, but he's turned into quite a solid championship defender, and probably one of Millwall's longest serving players at the moment, I would say. And then finally we've got Phil Summerhill, who played for Town in 1973-74, made 54 appearances for us, scoring 11 goals, and then went on to Millwall in 74-77, playing 87 times and scoring 27 goals. The striker born in Birmingham. And that is it. There you go. There's your history corner. Up the Town. See you all soon.
God, you sound so much better than you do now. I'm sorry, mate.
Those were the days.
Those were the days, my friend. We both sound bad, don't we? This is what we do for you listeners, right? We're bloody awful. Tom's going to bed after this, and yet here he is, like, half 7 in the morning or whatever, doing a podcast. So
Exactly.
Why don't give us a review? Tell us you like us. Give us 5 stars.
Give us 5 stars, or even 1 star. Just give us a review, please.
Don't give us 1 star. Don't do that. Ignore it. His mind is like filled with lemsip, so don't listen to that. Give us a good one. Right. It's an away game. Obviously, last time was a famous Neil Warnock when we were in the pink kit and we got a 1-0 win. Are you confident that we could get a positive result here? Because as you mentioned, Tom, they're in bad form.
I think I've just coughed up my heart then, Brady, sorry. If you are watching this on YouTube, then that would be quite a funny clip. I am pretty confident. I think I'm confident because you look at their form, it's not brilliant. I look at the new manager. I think he's only like 2 years older than Hoggy, which is hilarious. Not that like the age of a manager, but it's just one of those. I always feel like it's such a risk bringing in a manager like that, because I mean we've seen it with two, really, haven't we? We've seen it with Sievert and Fotheringham. Sometimes young managers, do they really get that respect, or are they just seen as like oh yeah, just same age as me? I'm not gonna. I know age shouldn't really define whether someone is respected or anything. Do you know what I mean? But I just feel like if someone came in and they were only like blooming whatever 5 years older than me, and then they're telling me how to play football, I'd be a bit like, yeah, come on then, mate. What? But I do think there's a chance, because obviously there's a massive transition there. It sounds like this Joe Edwards lad is bringing in a bit of a newer style that Millwall haven't seen for a while. I mean, compared to Rowett, it's completely different. Hints of Italian football, I hear, is what he tries to play. Yeah, free at the back and very direct passing, keeping possession. I know that he's worked with the likes of Frank Lampard and I think Conte as well when he was at Chelsea. So it is an interesting one. I mean, I don't know what you think about someone who's worked with Frank Lampard and seeing that as a positive or a negative, Brady.
I think Frank Lampard's a bit of a fraud of a manager, personally. You know, oh, he did well at Derby. Oh, yeah. Well, he did it well. He got the same position. I mean, Justin Peach, obviously, who everyone loves from the second tier. Absolutely, everyone loves the second tier. No faults with it whatsoever. He's a Derby fan, and he was like, "Oh yeah, Frank Lampard did so well. Took Derby, who was sixth, and finished them sixth. But they had Mason Mount, Harry Wilson, and Tomori." Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, did you see he's linked? Sorry, Frank Lampard watch. Did you see he's linked with the Charlotte FC job in MLS? So I think that tells you how good a manager he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, same with Gerrard. I don't know. It's a shame like England's midfield, like amazing midfield, just like bang average managers. But again, Tom, it's the classic one. Like, is an amazing former player going to be a good manager? Like, actually, let's forget this Millwall preview. Which town player do you think can make a good manager from the current squad? Because I don't know if Hoggy would. Yeah, I think so. I think Hoggy he'd be a good coach, but I don't know if he'd be a good manager.
I bet Tom Lees would be a good manager.
Oh yeah. I can see. Yeah, is he a bit of a chatter though? I don't think he. Yeah.
No, I feel like he's just one of those quiet managers that, get people respect. It's all about respect in my book, isn't it, Brady?
It's all about respect. I feel like he'd talk about the fundamentals a lot, the basics. Yeah, I could see him doing that. Like it's a cold Tuesday night, and he's in the corner that they've got the advertising hoardings, and he's just like, it's raining, and he's like, we just need to do the basics a bit better, back to square one.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can see that. You don't really see many strikers as managers, do you? To be fair,
not really, do you? I wouldn't see any of our strikers as future managers, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I mean, the obvious one is Hogg, isn't it? I can't really think of any of those other current players that I think would even want to go into it, but you never know, do you? It's like, who'd have thought Michael Carrick would have been
a
decent manager kind of thing.
Maybe it is midfielders then. Yeah, we'll see. I don't really know where we're going with this.
So Brady, look, Ed, I think, I mean, you're asking how do you think we're going to do against them? I mean, his first two results were pretty awful. Shipping off 3 actually, wasn't it? 3-1, 3-0, 4-0.
Yeah.
That big 4-0. Oh, sorry, they beat Wednesday. That was their only win. Sorry. So he has had a decent game.
Yeah.
But I think you've also got to be cautious here because the defeats they have had in the last 2 games have been very tight, very close.
Yeah.
So I have seen that he has come out and said he feels like the tide is turning. So maybe there is a bit of momentum starting to build. Maybe things are picking up for him. So I think Town have got to be cautious here and still not think, oh, they've got a new manager. Maybe we can go a bit more on the front foot, be a bit more attacking. I still think this approach that Ma's taking, that a bit more pragmatic, for me, is the right thing to do up until January. So, yeah, I think form table does help you out a bit, but I still think going down to the Den on a Saturday, in probably a cold, wet Saturday in December, I think you still got to take a very sensible approach, because if things start to go wrong down there, then they can take a nasty turn, can't they? If their fans get up for it and they start shipping 1-2, then it could turn nasty.
Yeah, it could be a confidence boost. I think we need to play it like the Sunderland game. I know we rode Elk a little bit there, but I think that's the kind of, I don't know why, I feel like that's a very satisfying away team performance. Like you, not so much. You kind of steal the result really, and that's what we need to do. Because how many times at the John Smith Stadium have we seen over the years, like someone gets a scrappy win or we've been a better side and we still come out, and just feel like that's what we need to do. So I'm with you. I mean, looking at their goal difference as well, like it's pretty bad. I know that the new blokes only just come in, but they've conceded 27 and they scored 21, so they're not real scorers. I mean, neither are Town. We've only scored 19 and conceded 32, but it just kind of shows you, doesn't it?
It does. But I think that's a good point, Brad. I mean, the one thing that I'm taking as a positive from the form table that we're in is I think we're like at least in the top 10 of goals conceded in the last 6 games. I think we've only conceded 5, which is a massive improvement to what we were doing back in November, isn't it? So
yeah,
it's just the other side of that is worrying. I think we've joint second bottom of scoring the least with a 5 as well. So that is I mean, everyone said it. Everyone said it at the start of the year. Where are the goals going to come from? We're crying out for Rudoni to be fit. Really, for me, I think.
Yeah, I don't. To be honest, I think we would better, but I still don't think it changes overnight. I mean, Wardy's back, but he's going to have to play his way into form. I hear the people listening to this going, "What form?" But he's an effective striker. And Bergzog, for me, bit of a chaos agent. He's been scoring a few. So we will see. But like you say, Tom, I don't know. You look at it, and these are probably, although they're going to be a bit boring, these are probably the best time, like an ideal time to play Preston and Millwall. So I'm hoping really, if we can get a win in one of these, that will just ease the pressure. So with that in mind, I'm gonna ask you for your score prediction for this Millwall one.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? It's like I look at their squad from this season. There's not much difference. They've brought in a couple of players, haven't they? But no one that's really that's taken them to the level that I think Rowett hoped they would to push on from that position last year. I mean, Fleming still seems to be doing Fleming things and being their best player. So it sounds like it's as simple as you keep him quiet. You're gonna do all right. I mean, when we went there last time, I think Warnock just put Reg on him for the whole game, didn't he? And I have Reg is such a funny player. Like he come on against Bristol City, and it's just sometimes he looks like a fan who's come on to play football. But And I really do like him, but it's like he is. You've got to give him a job for him to be effective on the field. I think so. I think if he can replicate that, then we should be fine. Like they look to be struggling for goals like us. I mean, Tom Bradshaw, I think he's only scored one this season so far. I think maybe he was their top scorer last year, or he was up there, wasn't he? Duncan Watmore not playing as many games. I'm not sure how his injuries are doing as well. It's just things like that. Let's might just be the perfect time to play him. So on that front, Brady, I'm gonna be positive. I'm gonna be very positive. I'm gonna say Town are gonna get 3 points here, which it's all right being unbeaten and getting these draws, but if we just if we kept this form up where we're drawing 5 and winning 1 out of 6 till the end of the season, then you're probably going to get relegated. Even if you're just drawing. So let's get a few more 3 points. It's massive how much that 2 extra points is. So 1-0, and David Kasumu, I think he's been great these last couple of games. So let's give him a goal to all that hard work paying off.
Lovely. I'm also going to go for a 1-0 Town. I think I've got a feeling that we're going to get a win in one of these 2 games, and I've predicted a draw. So I'll say Millwall 2. Yeah, I'm going to go 1-0, and a classic, because this is where are the goals coming from. I think they're coming from a set piece in this one. I think top scorer Hellick is going to, just outmuscle someone. You can just see it, can't you? You can just picture it. Ball it's a corner, a bit like the Sunderland goal. It's a corner, gets whipped in, nodded back in, and Hellick scrapping with someone, and bang! That's Town's goal. So I'm going to go for. So we're both going for 1-0. That is very positive. There we go. So we will leave it there, Tom, because I think we're both very ill, and it's amazing that we've managed to get a pod out. So, in terms of what we've got coming over, obviously there's a lot of games, and we won't be previewing everyone. But if you listen very closely, you might hear some jingle bells, because that's right. The Christmas quiz will be back. We don't know in what format or guise yet, but there will be a Christmas quiz podcast, so look out for that one. And we will leave it there. Tom, anything you'd like to say to the listeners before we say ta-ta for now?
It was really nice seeing a few of you at Bristol City game. I'm going to blame the listeners for giving me this cold, though. So next time, don't come and see me. Don't come and say hello. No, but really nice that to find out that people do actually listen and don't just think that, me and Brady aren't just talking into a void, basically, every week. But just as always, loud and proud. I mean, it's going to be a big ask for people to turn up for this Preston game tonight in this weather. And then anyone travelling down to London or, getting to Millwall is always a difficult one. But, let's just enjoy it as much as we can.
There you go. Lovely. Right. Well, listeners,
I've got a wild hound has been released.
A wild hound has been released. Oh my god. Okay, we will leave it there. That's two halves, 2 dogs featured. So there you go.
The headphones are broken. The microphone's been eaten.
But we will leave it there. So there you go. Nice little ending for your dog feature. Right. Ta-ta for now, and up the Town, and we will see you all very, very soon.